Okay, yeah, yes, we can start. Okay, yes, when I guess.
Okay.
So, basically today we are going to see. So till now, what we have seen is we have seen different things, right? How we can configure the workflow, how we can use the rules, right, and how we can implement the business logic. So where we configure this, which workflow we should invoke for out of the box quick links available, right? Then only we can go and we can invoke that. So from where we should invoke. So today we are going to see that, and that is our last module, how exactly the end-to-end process is. Okay. Now, so that is a lifecycle manager request. So as you know, initially we have implemented or we have imported that init-lcm.xml. Okay. Once we import then only this particular module will be available with us. Okay. So let me go in detail. So we are going to see this identity change lifecycle. So how actually the identity data are going to be changed, okay, along with the accesses. Then access request process, requesting a different entitlement roles, account, password, identity cube, and so on and so forth. Along with that, configuring the access request, okay, configuring the quick link population, role, entitlement, etc. And then LCM actions, so different actions and their associated business process. So which business process is associated with which LCM action that we are going to show, and configuring the provisioning policy. So that I'm going to show you. Okay, so let me go. So first is identity change lifecycle. So how exactly the identity will change? Okay, so there are two way. First is user change. So basically where user will go and raise the request. Either it could be a self-service request by a user, or maybe a manager or help desk or some other user will go and take any action for that particular user, or governance or compliance process like certification and policies remediation, right? So that is again a one user action or user intervention is required. So based on these three, okay, in a sale point, we are going to raise a provisioning request accordingly, whether it is add, remove, or any kind of provisioning request. We are going to raise under the identity IQ. And identity IQ, it will going to provision those automatically or maybe create a work item to complete that particular action. Okay, so this is the one way. Okay, self-service, it may be a service now also, it may be a SailPoint system also. Okay, so this is something a user changes where user will go and raise the request. Okay, now second is data change. So data change means, let's say if we bring some data change from Active Directory or database or maybe somewhere else. Okay, so if we trust those data and those data change will be bring inside the SailPoint. Okay, or maybe the data change within a SailPoint system, okay, by some user. But once the approval is done, there should be some events should be trigger. Okay, in that scenario, let's say if job title is modified, then we need to trigger a certification, right? I already shown you. So that is called a data change, and based on that data change we need to go and do some action automatically. Okay, so in that scenario we will have a data trigger events, and that events will go and provision the data in identity IQ. Now, so there are two things. One is the user change, another one is a data change. Okay, now almost out of this, you know what is manage access was what is manage identity and so forth. Okay, so I will going to show you a demo where exactly this quick link and everything. I will just show you in detail. Okay. Now, what exactly is the access request process? So currently, I have raised a couple of requests in front of you, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to select one of the access request. Okay. So manage user access page. In the manage user access page, what we do? So that is the initiate the access request. Okay. What we do first, we are going to select the requestee. Okay, uh, based on the requestee we are going to filter the users, and along with that we will going to say select access, what access that particular user wants, and once it is there we will review and we will submit it. So in backend, what happened, once the request has been submitted, a plan will create. So what plan it will create? It says that, hey, this is a requestee and this guy has raised a request. So that is a requester. Okay. And for this particular application or role or entitlement access request it has raised, and which operation. So either it's a add or remove. Okay. So those operations. So those will be converted into the one plan. Okay. And that particular plan will send to the workflow. So whatever the input we have selected, that will be always converted in the plan in Sailpoint. Okay, and then it will pass to the workflow. So which workflow it will pass, that we will show you. Okay, and this workflow will do many things. Okay, so it expand the data and roles. Let's say based on the particular selected entitlement, if we want to add something to the user or account, then we are going to extend that. Okay, evaluate the policy. Now you know the policy, right? Even on the submit button, you will see that policy previously. So that previous policies like, hey, this is a policy violation. You cannot trace both the access simultaneously, right? So it will backend evaluate the policy and notify the user as well as the approver. Then opt in the approvals. Definitely you have seen how the approval will go. And then provisioning broker, so which will go and provision the data inside the target resource. Okay, as well as in the Sailpoint under the identity warehouse. So this is end-to-end process for access request, how exactly the request will work and what is automated. So this thing is automated. Directly it will go and it will provision the data in target application. Okay, so what exactly the thing is here, uh, two things you are seeing here. So one is a manage user access, another one is a manage my access. Okay, so manage user access will say that, hey, you are a manager or you are any employee, right, who can go and who can change any user's access. Okay, so how we are going to configure that, I'm going to show you. Okay, in some time only. So this particular tab, manage user access, will see, okay, you can go and you can modify any of the users, while this manage my access. So both quick link are same, only the name is different. Okay, based on the functionality. So this particular thing is there, manage my access. So the user will go and user will change only his data. He cannot change any other data. Okay, so that we are going to show. Next is, yeah, managing account, changing password and request identity, identity IQ identities. So that I'm going to show you now. This is a configuration, so which I already mentioned you, right? So while installing, we have imported this particular init-lcm.xml. So once we import, then only this lifecycle management module will be activated. Okay, and once it is activated, we will see the quick links, and based on the quick links, so quick link population, we can configure the who can request what for whom. Okay, so that I'm going to show you now. Next is configure the LCM. So configure the LCM means option related to the role, entitlement, account request, and other general options. So we can select what are roles, what entitlement, which role we need to show to the user or not, so that we can configure it here. Okay, and then configure associated items outside of LCM. So if it is outside of LCM, okay, we need to configure it at particular places. Okay, let's say in entitlement catalog, role, in provisioning policy, maybe in business process, etc. Okay, so that I'm going to show you. So this is up to some theory which I have explained you. Let me just go to the main portion. So you know, right? So let me just start with the quick link. So these are my quick links. Okay, whatever you are seeing here, these are the quick links. Similarly, whatever you are seeing here, manage user access, manage account, manage password, track my request, even in manage identity, create identity, edit identity, view identity. So these are my quick links. Okay, where I can hit and I can go and I can do some work. Okay, or maybe a submitting request, maybe a approval kind of thing. So everything I can go and I can do it. So this is called as a quick link, where user can go and hit that particular quick link and process it accordingly. So now next is how we can configure the quick link. So to configure the quick link, we need to go to the global setting. Inside the global setting, we have a quick link population. This is a quick link population. We can select on it. So this is a quick link population. Here you can see everyone, help desk, manager, and self-service. Okay. So almost everyone and this self-service are same. Okay. But manager maybe have some high privilege accesses than the self-service and everyone, right? Even the help desk has a high privileges than an individual, right? So let me just go to the self-service. So inside the self-service, what are the options are available? We can see it. So here in the configuration, let's say it's a name and description. So you can write any name, you can write any description. Even we can create a new also. Okay. Now let's assume that here, if you see in the membership rule, okay, so what actually this membership rule is? So so here it will define which user we can include as a part of this quick link. Okay, it may be some specific admin team. So let's say I'm creating one more. Okay, or if we have a manager, right? So in the manager, who will going to raise the request? So who will see this particular quick link configuration basically? So we can see in the membership rule, we need to return that if manager status is true, then only the configuration which is available in this particular quick link can visible, okay, to a guy. So that means this quick link is only visible to the manager. Let's say if we have a one work group, name is an owner, right, who can see some extraordinary access. So we can create one more quick link population. We can add here that this particular work group, okay, if this work group is there, then only we can go and we can give the access to them. Okay, so that we can configure it here accordingly. So population we can add. Okay, so this is something we can configure. So to whom this particular configuration will be visible, that we can configure accordingly. Okay, so if you see for the help desk, so who has the capability called help desk, then only that user can see the help desk one. Okay, and everyone is almost same as the self-service. Okay, both are same as of now, but in some organization, if we want to differentiate, we can differentiate it. Okay, so here who can see, who cannot see, we can decide according to this particular membership rule. Okay, so this configuration is currently visible to the all membership because we did not have any excluded or included identity available. Now this is about the who can see this particular quick link or who can raise the access, right? Now next is who can member a request for. Okay, so for whom this particular guy or self-service user can go and can raise a request. So let's say it's no one who can members request for. Okay, so currently no one. Okay, so if you see in everyone, you can see that no one. Okay, so if I want to specify any one of them, I can go and I can say specific user. Okay, so let's say we have a set attribute, match any, match all, anything. Okay, so we have a set attribute, identity attribute called title, I can say, or maybe some other thing. So I can select here. Okay, so what user will be a part of this particular thing. So here what it says, whatever the requester is there, who shares the attribute with a requester. Okay, so this title is should be same for two user, then only that particular new user will be visible to the guy. Okay, so I just use the self-service here, or instead of self-service I should use the manager one, because self-service and everyone is almost same, so both will be visible to the user. Okay, let me just show you. Similarly, report to the requester. So who is the manager? We can select that. Okay, report to the particular manager. So let me just show you. I'm just going to another one. Even you can see, right? Report to the requester. Direct or indirect report is we can select maximum 10 hierarchy. So specific user where we can go and we can select the report to the requester so they can see. Okay. Similarly, let me just go to the self-service. Here what can members request? Okay, so this is about the page. Okay, the select user page. This is about the select access page. Okay, so where what access we can show it to the user. Okay, that we can tell. So in the add request or add accesses, these are the rule or by default rules are written by the Sailpoint, and this can be used. So currently what it say, we can show the all entitlement objects to them, particular request authorization scope rule will run and will change accordingly. Okay, so what action or whatever the roles and whatever the entitlement we need to show, that we can show it from here. Okay, even the application also, which application we need to show, so that we can display it here. Okay, and based on this particular display we can show it to the user. Okay, so this is a filter out for a add access. Similarly, this is filter for remove access. What exactly we can show to the user to remove it. Okay, so this is just a configuration of who who can means which user can be a part of this particular quick link, who can see, means which user they can see, and then which access for a add and which access for a remove. Okay, so these things are there to configure. Now next, there is a tab called quick link. So here in the quick link, so there are quick links available. So if you have seen this access review, right, so you know we have access review quick link. Let me just go and show it to you. So this is a access review quick link, right? So currently access review quick link is not enabled here in self service. Okay, but let's say I want to enable, I can go and enable, but it is available here in everyone. Okay, so no need to enable in self service. So similarly, if I want to enable approvals for this particular thing, then I can enable it. Okay, create identity, then I also enable it. Okay, something, so we can enable it. Now along with that, so by default, this edit identity, self-services, edit identity, manage account, and manage password and request access, right? So if you see, this can be a configurable. So what we can configure here, so we can go and we can click on this. Here it says for a self and for other. Okay, so for a self, if we select, then user can go and only change his particular identity. Okay, he cannot go and he cannot change any other identity. So let me open this particular thing in new browser so I can show it what is the difference between user and administrator. So let me log in with a normal user called Sakaran. So okay, and password will be this one. Okay, now when I will go and I will click on edit identity, let me just go and click on edit identity. Okay, so when I click on edit identity, only that particular user will be available. If you see Karansa, display name, this is something blank, some attributes are stored, right? So this is only for Karansa. Now if I want, no, every user of a organization can see all the users and he can go and he can modify all, right? So instead of for self, we can select for others, and whether we need to select a single or multiple at a time. Okay, something. So I can say for others, and let me just save it. Okay, select the configuration. So only one option. So I need to select it and then save it. Okay. Once I will save, I need to save it again here. So now quick link population is successfully updated. I can go and I can see the option again. So it is for other, right? Now, same thing. Let me just go and log in again with the Sakaran. So when I will go now and I will see the edit identity here. Now you can see edit identity tab is available. Now this particular user cannot see any user. Okay, so there is a no such result. So first way here we need to select the identity and then only we can go. So let me just go, let me just configure it here with the everyone, and let me just save it. Okay, and let me just again open the edit identity. Will I say it? Okay, let me just go again, click on edit identity. See, now you can see the user, right? So So this is a configuration that we can do, and we user can go and can see it. So let's say I'm selecting the manage. So it will show the different user. He can go, he can edit any of the field, and again he can submit it. Okay, so this is a power of quick link. How we can hide, how we can show it. If I will say, let me go in a self-service, and I will say, no, not all user, specific user who shares the same attribute. Okay, and which attribute? So I'm saying title one. So let me just select the title. Okay, and then save it. Okay, now again, let me just show you. Let me refresh the page again. Again, let me go to the edit identity. Now you can see only three user. Why? Because these three has the same job title as this particular guy. Okay, Karansa. Karansa. Okay, and if you say Karansa is still not visible, why he is not visible? Because we have disabled this option. If you go in configuration for a self, we have disabled the option. So we need to enable for a self, then only that particular user will be visible. And currently, if you see, create identity is disabled here. So when I go and when I can see manage identity and I can see only edit and view, there is no create identity available. So if I want to enable it, I can enable it also. So this is just some configuration, okay, which we can see. Let me again refresh it. So in this way, we can give a access, quick link access to the user. We can hide a quick link from the user. Okay. So those things are okay. Now you can see create identity because I enabled that create identity here in self-service. So he can go and he can click on this and he can fill a form and then submit the request. Okay. So this is a form he need to fill, and then he can go and he can submit the request to create a new user, and then the workflow will be called accordingly. Okay, and similarly, let me just go to the edit identity. Previously that current SAR is not visible to this user. Now you can see SAR current is there, right? So same thing means we can configure this particular quick links accordingly here. Okay, now if you see, these many options are there with the user with the self-service, but if you go and if you see the manager, so manager is also a part of self-service, right? Because manager is normal user. Along with that, he is the extra access called manager, right? So previously, if you see manager create identity, right, in the self-service, this was not enabled. I enabled it to just show you, right? So this was not enabled, but ideally in manager, this is enabled. So manager can go and create the identity. Similarly, if someone is a manager, then he can go and he can edit, and this configuration is already available for others and single. Okay, so he can go and he can edit the users who is a reportee of that particular guy. Okay, and then manage account, which was previously not available, but here now it's available. So this particular guy can go and manage the account. Okay, so same thing, whether he can manage the account for self or for others only, then allow managing the existing access. He can also, whether he can raise a new request or not. If yes, then we can raise a new request and then allow requesting additional account. Okay, so based on the configuration, we can select whatever we want, and he can go and he can raise the request accordingly. Okay, so this is about the quick link, and these all quick links are available here. You can go and you can see all the quick links. Okay, you can also go, these are the quick links. So these quick links will be available here. Now let me show you one more thing. So here in the home page, when you go to the home page, you can see only 5 tab, right? While here there are many more available. So if you want to add a quick link here in the home page, let's say some quick links are very important and users are frequently use it, then we can go to this audit option. Here you can see the quick links. Okay, whatever the quick links are there, you can see it and you can add it. So currently we are seeing 5 quick links only: policy violation, access review, approvals, manage user actions, and track my request. If I want to add one more, I can click on add card, and you can see the other quick links also, right? Previously manage password is not there, manage account is not there, view identity, create identity is not there. We can go and we can enable the same. So let me just add one, manage password I'm adding. Okay, and I'm just saving it. Okay, so manage password now will be there. Let me just again save it. So if you see, one more quick link is added called manage password. Now, next I talk about this manage user access. So currently, if you can see, it's a manage user access. When I will go inside, it will show me all the users which is available here. Okay, so same thing. Let me just go to the normal user. I'm clicking on home. Okay, I'm clicking on manage my access, right? So if you see here, it's a manage my access, and this is the administrator. Okay, SP admin user. So you can see manage user access instead of my access, it's manage user access, right? Manage user access. While here it's a manage my access, who is a normal user, right? So you can go, you can select on this. So now when you see this page, there is no select user tab available. Directly it's manage my access is available. Okay, inside that add and remove, because already by default, as we have selected that this particular guy can raise only his access, that's why the identity or user is already selected. Okay, so now you can search the access, you can go and you can raise the access request. Okay, let me just say admin. Oh, it's already added. Then select some other access. Let me just add, yeah, asset one, it's good. So I can go, I can say click next. Now this particular access will going to be added. So when I submit it, when I submit it, it will go and it will add this particular asset here. Okay, so no means it will go for approval. So here it's manage my access. We did not selected any identity, but when you go and see the track my request, the request is raised for Karansa, means same user. Okay, Karansa is requested and Karansa for Karansa it was requested. Okay, and currently it's pending for revision honor approval. So this is manage my access, where we are not displaying any user selection page, but if we want, no, every user can go and have that particular, means every user can go and select any of the user to raise a request, right? Then we can go to the self-service again. Okay, here in the quick link, so that is my manage user access quick link. So basically request access quick link. So this is selected, that's why we can see it. And in the configuration, if you see, we have a for self, right? So instead of for self, let me just go to the for others. Okay, so means it will include self as well as other, and other in a bulk. So we can select a bulk access also. Now next, I told you, right? So request role. So what exactly a user can go and perform under the quick link for the roles and entitlement. Okay, so this is for add and this is for remove. Okay, so allow requesting additional account. So if let's say we have a multiple account available. Okay, so here we need to multiple account user can have. So if we want to give a selection page, then we can click on this allow requesting additional accounts. Okay, if user has a one account, and if we are requesting one more, then we can have this particular, or we need to grant it in existing. Similarly, allow requester to the see population static in advanced search for each role. Okay, so there is an advanced search tab available for each role. There user can see the details or not, that we can select it. Okay, similarly request entitlement, same thing is there. Okay, so this is for roles, this is for entitlement. And similarly remove request, so whether we need to allow user to remove or not, right? So previously the remove tab is there. If I will go here, if I will go here, and you can see remove access is also there, right? So this is the access which is available to the user, and user can go and raise the remove request. So if we don't want to allow remove request for entitlement, then we can remove it and we can save it. Okay, so let me just save, and let me just save again. So the configuration is saved. Let me just refresh the page. Okay, then now you can see previously this is manage my access. Okay, for the currency, now you can see manage user access, right? So we can go and we can click on this. So the quick link name itself is changed, and now this guy Karansa got this select user page. Okay, and as we have added that, Karansa can see only those identity who shares the same job title. So if I will go and if I will check, see specific user set the attribute with the requester, which attribute title. So job title of these four are same. Okay, Karansa, Krishna Copy Setti, and Lala Patel, and this one. Okay, Pradeep Kumar. So these all are say same same job title. Okay, that's why only four users are visible. Now, let me just show you multiple requests I want to raise. I can go and I can select any two. Okay, when I click on manage access, you can see, let me just search it. So you can see there is no remove access is available. Previously, the remove access tab is there, right? Currently, we don't have any remove access. Only we can, what we can do is add one. So we can go and we can select the according request. Okay, so we can also hide, add, remove kind of stuff available here. Okay, so that is one thing. Okay, let's just give me example. So help desk, if we have a help desk team and help desk team can go and raise a add request, right? And self-service means user can only raise a removal request. User cannot raise normally raise that request, right? If they want to add, they can go through the service now and ask, or maybe ticketing tool, and they will ask that, hey, help desk team, please raise the access access request for me. So in that scenario, we can do it in self-service. We can go and we can go to this request access and we can disable this option. Okay, only they can remove it. So we can select the remove. So it will be disabled to the user, and similarly user will have a access. So this is a important thing how we can populate this quick link and how it is useful to the user. Okay, now next is when I will go, I will I will raise a request. Okay, and once I will submit. So what exactly in backend happen once after submitted, how it will go for this approval or how it will go and provision, right? So in backend, what we are going to write is workflow, right? I already shown you the workflow. So how we can identify for this access request which is raised by a user will go and follow one of the workflow, which workflow he need to follow, because if you see in debug page also there are, or even UI page, there are multiple workflow or business processes are available, right? So which this module will select which of the workflow, right? So here if you see these are the workflow or business process available. So which workflow it will select? So we know that a access request will always select LCM provisioning. Okay? It will go to this LCM provisioning and it will work. Okay, means it will go for approval and so forth. So that can be selected using this global setting. Inside that we have a lifecycle manager. We can select on lifecycle manager. Okay, once we select the lifecycle manager, so this is a configuration available. Okay, I will go later on this part, but let me just go to the business process. So here we can select the business process, which process it will run on which action. So if you say this is my action, request access is my action, so it will follow the LCM provisioning workflow. Okay, similarly if I am raising a account request or I am removing the accounts, then also it will follow this LCM provisioning. Okay, unlock user account, same thing. If I'm handling the manage password, then it will go and it will call the LCM manage passwords workflow. Okay, similarly edit and create identity, it will follow the create and update. Okay, and so forth. So these are the different actions, and against we are going to select the business process. Now let's assume that in your environment, okay, wherever we are working, so they are saying, okay, no, we require some extra thing available within this workflow. So sometimes out of the box workflow will not be capable of handling those such specific requirement, right? So what we need to do, we need to modify it. So let's say currently the end date which we are selecting, it is not storing in under the users end date, okay, entitlement end date. Then what we can do, we need to customize that workflow, right, to store the end date properly and something and so on and so forth, right, by getting the end date from the user. So in that scenario you are going to modify it. So what general practice is, we will not going to touch this out of the box workflow which is LSM provisioning. We are going to create a new workflow with some custom name. Okay, we can give any name, and then we can come here and we can select here the workflow. Okay, whatever the workflow you will write, this will be visible here under the drop down. Okay, you can select your custom workflow and then just save it. So whenever you are going to raise the request with this manage user access, okay, it will go and it will follow your new custom workflow which is selected there. So here the workflow will be selected. Okay, so we can select the workflow here and it will go and it will raise the request. Now so configure, so this know now. And what is configure? So configure is something it will general configuration which is applied to the all kind of requests. Okay, so what exactly this, so you can read it. Some of them even I did not use and some of them I used it. Okay, so what exactly this is, so filter searches by start with. Okay, so enable the requester to set the request priorities. So here if we enable, then it will add the request priority. So if you see, uh, I will use the another tab. Let me just go to the global setting again. So if you see, I will go to the manage user access. Okay, it will show me this page. I am selecting identity, I am selecting any of the access, but here you cannot define a priority whether you want this on urgent basis or a normal it's fine, or a low priority it's fine. We cannot define, right? But to define that, we can enable this particular option, enable requester to set the priority. Okay, so what exactly is, let me just save it. Okay, let me just log out and log in again with this user. Okay, logout login is not required, only page refresh is required for such a priority setting and all. Okay, but to avoid confusion, I'm just logging again. So this is changed. Now what exactly the priority is, user can define his own priority, whether he wants this on urgent basis or whether he wants on a normal basis or how. Okay, so I'm selecting the same. I'm going here, I'm selecting one of the access, let's say basic access. Okay, and then we can go and review the submit. Now you can see this is the priority. Okay, previously this normal button is not visible. If you see here in the manage user access, there is no normal button available, right? It's a blank. But now in this page, if you can see after enabling it, it's a normal. So normal means normal process you can follow, no need on urgent basis, it will follow the normal. But if let's say I want a urgent basis and today it should complete, right? So in that scenario, we can select the high priority. Okay, so use approver can see it. Even the low priority means not in hurry, even you can ignore it or something, right? So let me just select the high priority and submit the request. So once the request is submitted, once the request is submitted, you can see this is a red flag available. So it's a high priority. Here nothing is available. That means it's a normal. If it is a low priority, then it should be a green signal. Even this particular message can be seen under the user's approval also. Okay, whether it has a higher priority or lower priority and kind of stuff. Somewhere. Okay, so this is a high priority. See, this is the approval page. So this can be visible accordingly if we enable or disable. Then enable account group management. So if you want to enable the account group management within a Sailpoint, then we can enable it. Enable full text search. So even you know, right, I'm running the full text search index job. So whether whatever the entitlement we are showing, for that we need to enable the full text search or not. So basically it's a search means if I am writing a searching here in this particular page, okay, here if I am writing searching, then do we need to enable or not, that we can enable using this thing. Okay, then base directory path to store the full text index file. So if we have any index file, right, okay, if we have such thing, then we can add it in web-inf. Generally we are not using. Okay, then enable automatic index refresh. So whether they need means whether we need to enable it or not. Yes, enable it every 60 minutes. Every 60 minutes it will go and it will refresh the indexes of all the entitlements. Okay, if we forgot to run the full text index search, automatically it will come here and it will run on every 60 minutes and it will be visible to the user. Okay, the particular entitlement, if the index is not there, automatically after 60 minutes it will assign it. Then enable searching by population when requesting access. So population, you know. Okay, enable searching by identity when requesting. So what exactly this is meaning is, so here when you go, no sorry, here when you go, you can see search by keyword. So you can go and you can type any keyword. But let's say if I want to search by users access, right? So let's say whatever the access Pradeep Kumar has, let's assign that access to the Kansa. So what we can do, we can find a user's access here. Okay, we can select the user here Yeah, we can select the user here. Let's say Pradeep Kumar. Just apply it. So whatever the access Pradeep Kumar has, it will be visible here. Okay, so only one access, that is Navision roles and Sailpoint. We can assign it. Okay, so we can select it and we can go next and submit it. So we can find a user's access. Let's say we two are colleague. Okay, so whatever the access you are joining new, I already in the system. So whatever the access I have, the same access you want, then we can go to this find user access and we can select it. And filter population is, let's say, based on the manager. So manager, if we can apply. Okay, so whatever the access is has, so this particular manager joint tribute has a two users. Okay, and both user has a finance and commission tax access and the asset access, and one of them has this one. Okay, so we can select whatever we want. Okay, this we want or not. So based on the manager population also, we can go and we can select the access. Okay, so that is the thing, so we can enable it. So external service request detail. So if any external service request is present, let's say we have raised a request in service now or something, then we can also show the some details. Okay, but which is not required even. Then maximum number of a result written in a request search. Okay, and maximum number of a selectable user in a request. So what exactly this means is, maximum we can show accesses. Maximum we can show the accesses here is 100. Okay, so if you, I don't have 100, otherwise it would be, let's say we have a 1000 of our access, still it will show the 100 here in this particular page. Okay, you can click on next, next, next. Maximum value we can show it 100. Now if user want let's say 101 access which is not available in this 100, they can go and they can search it. Okay, and based on the search whatever is written, again it's a 100 item. So we need to find in the search in that scenario. So basically we are limiting to get a faster result. Okay, and maximum user can select 100 entitlements. Okay, if he selects more than 100, then it will then Sailpoint will not allow. Okay, then something additional support to the additional account request. So if we have a multiple account request, then for which application we can give a multiple application access. So let's Navision. So I can select the Navision. So whichever application can have a user's multiple account, then we can select it. Okay. Now, next is request roles. So request roles is basically what request user can raise for the roles. Assignable role or permitted role. So you know now, right? What is assignable and what is permitted. So permitted role also they can go and they can raise the request as well as the assignable. So if permitted role request is not permitted by Sailpoint, then we can disable it. Okay. So same thing. Now then request entitlement option. So when searching for a entitlement based population, only return entitlement content at least the following percentage of population. Okay, so when we select this population, how many entitlements, okay, contains this population. So currently it's a zero, right? So you know what is zero. So previously I selected that there is 150 is available, right? 150 available because we have a two users only, so it's 150. Let's say I don't want a 50% off, I just want a 100%, so we can add it here the 60%. If population has a more than 60% of entitlement, then only we can select. So all the 50% entitlement or single user assignment will be removed in that particular thing. Okay, now entitlement search result must return less than this number of entitlement we're searching by identity. So same thing, if we search by identity and if that identity has more than 5000 of entitlement, right, currently, then we need no need to show the first 5000 only. So that's why this is there. Now next is regarding the create option. So this is up till now it is normal access request. Now we have a create option. So what exactly is the create identity option? So require password on all the identity creation request. If it is required, then we need to select it. Enable self-service registration. So self-registration means when you log out, okay, when you log out, so you know, right, sign up thing we are doing generally in the system. So this is similar to the sign up. Okay, so currently you can say you can sign up, but if you enable the self-service registration, you can go and you can create your own account. Okay, so we need to enable this self-service registration. So user can go and you can we can sign up. Okay, so the new identity will be created, it will go for approval, and once approval is done, the identity will be created. Okay, and if URL of a action button after successful registration, so once the registration is completed, what action button we need to give, that we need to provide it here. But generally in organization, you know, right, it's a HR process, so we will not, means we are not going to enable the self registration. Even I did not see it anywhere in any of the project, because always it should be created through us HR team. Okay, then prevent pruning of a new identities for this many days. So pruning means uh, pruning means if user does not have any account, okay, and it's a idle identities, okay, once it is created, and if it is idle, no action is taken, then also we need to prevent. We cannot prune that. Prune means remove. Okay, we cannot remove that new identity. At least keep for 30 days. Maybe in 30 days, user will come and raise the request. Okay, so we need to prevent pruning. Then we need to select this option. Okay, then manage account option. So manage account, now you know there is a one more quick link called manage account. So inside the account, what exactly we need to show? We need to show the enable unlock decision button. So user can go and enable or unlock his account, or only the disabled and or unlock. Okay, so same thing, what action they can take: delete, disable, enable, unlock in the manage accounts, and then disable auto refresh account status. So we can select the which application do not support the auto refresh. So let's say we don't have any aggregation, right? We are manually creating it, then that particular application does not support any kind of a refresh account status, right? So we can select. So this will not be visible under the manage account tab. Okay, or maybe the disabled means auto refresh option will be hidden. And similarly, support only account request. So there should not be entitlement. So if any of identity, let's say we have an application called HR system which supports only the account, right? There is no entitlement, there is no manage password kind of thing, then we can select such application here. So it will show accordingly in the manage accounts page. Okay, now let's say manage password option. Okay, so now there is another thing, that is password, right? So another quick link, password, we can go and we can reset the password for any of the application access. Okay, so in that scenario, do we need to enable the auto generation when requesting for others? So let's say if I am an admin, and if Vasu access is there in Oracle database, and Oracle database is a password kind of thing, right? So Vasu says me, hey, if you can reset my password, right? So I'm requesting for a Vasu, so I'm requesting for other guy, not for me, right? So in that scenario, do we require this auto generation option? So what it will do, when we click on the auto generation option or button, okay, there is a same password or generate password is there. So we can click on generate password, and it will automatically generate a password based on the policy written. Okay, and it will send it to the user. So even I don't know, though I'm requesting for Vasu, I don't know what is the password, right? It will automatically send in email to the Vasu. Okay, this password has been generated, you can go and you can log in it. So there is a no breach of data. Okay, so in that scenario, if we want to enable, we can enable it. If we don't enable, then definitely we need to write a password, let's say admin@123, right? So I need to write the password, I need to confirm the password and then submit. So that password I need to share with a Vasu, and Vasu can go and log in it. Okay, and then password validation rule. So once the password has been set, then password follows any special character or not, anything kind of stuff, or proper syntax or not, that we can validate using this rule. So again, we need to write a business logic here. Okay, identity, links, group, project, and these are the different thing. Okay, that we can use to determine the password is valid or not. Okay, so this is for the password validation. And last, for the batch request approval. So in case if it is required a batch request raised by a user can approve in a bulk, okay, then we can select this option, require the batch request approval, and who is the identity for approving the batch request, so we can select accordingly. Okay, it is not required, then we don't want. And this manage classification option is something that comes newly. So display the classification in access request. Okay, allow classification to be visible in access request. Outside of access request, they are always visible. So classification, okay, this particular entitlement is for what purpose? If you have defined the classification, then it will be displayed under the screen. Okay, so this is something we can configure it. Okay, and those configuration will be available in different tab. Okay, so you have seen about the manage user access. Let me just go to the manage password, but currently we don't have any password application. Still, let me go. If we will have anyone, then we can select. Okay, let me just select the John Tibet. So here I am an admin, so I can see all the user. If he's the normal user, then he can see only his identity based on the quick link population which we did. Okay, now here the two application are there. Okay, so I enable this password, so we can click on this change. We can write the password here. Okay, and confirm the password and then submit it. Okay, so what it will do, the new password will be set on this particular Navision application in backend. Okay, and that particular password will be set to the user as well. Okay, now if I want to generate it, I can click on generate. Currently we don't have a password provisioning policy or anything, so it will generate automatically. So I can click on generate. In backend it will process the request and it will generate a new password. Okay, and that password will be sent. But currently if you see, I have done some coding and all, so that's why it is giving an error. Second thing, what happened, I don't have any password mechanism. I did not added a Navision contains a password or not, right? I just added a few tag to display it here. Okay, but that does not mean that it will go and it will reset the password in Navision. So it won't be password won't be reset. Okay, so that thing are there. So we can come here, we can have this button and all, we can click on that. Now similarly, let's say if I want to sync a password, okay, for all the application, or means I want the same password, then I can select all, I can click on sync. Okay, and the new password and the confirm password I need to show, means I need to write and then submit it. Once it is submitted, all have same password. Okay, even I can generate a password for all the users. Okay, so this is a password, how we can go and how we can change it. Okay, for individual account or for all the accounts. Now next, let me just go to the next thing, that is manage accounts. Even I shown you previously to perform some activity. Okay, let me just go to the manage accounts tab. So here whatever the accounts you have, okay, those account will be visible here. Okay, so let's say this guy has a 3 accounts, so all 3 account is available. See, this is not refresh because I did not added the refresh option. We don't have any entitlement kind of thing, so this is not refresh. Only what we can do is delete. We can go and delete the application account. So once I click on delete, I confirm it, then I need to enter the comment here if I want. Okay, and then submit it. Okay, so once it is submitted, the account will be deleted. Okay, but as it is HR, I cannot delete it, the account. Similarly, so the password, we can see the accounts. Okay, we can select the users, whatever user we want to give. Okay, and we can click on the change, so we can change the password. Click on the password of a user, we can generate the password accordingly. So we have this generate button. As I'm raising a request for other guy, I can go and I can generate it. But if I'm raising for myself, right, then I can enter my password so that I can easily remember, but the password should match some of the policy. So just forget about this error. I'm just doing some work, so that's why it is giving an error. Okay, in backend. But yeah, definitely we can do it. Let me just go and disable items so that we won't have such error. Let me just go edit and disable it. Just save it and also disable the sliver event. Let me just save it. Okay, so I did not have any password configuration available, so this particular form will not go and will not provision anything because we did not created an Navision application which can accept the password. Okay,
Okay.
we cannot. So always it will give it. Okay, give us an we cannot do it. But let me just try to reset one of the application password. So normally, if you this screen will be visible contains the password. Okay, so I don't
Okay.
have any provisioning mechanism mechanism for the password, but application here. That's what I did is I here. Okay, to use I enable something in. I can show application backend. Okay, okay, but so ideally all the application who has a password will automatically visible. Any password, let's say admin 123 something here. I can write it. Okay, even I can write here admin123. So it will say new field and confirm the submit button enable. You can submit it, not match. So once it is matched, submit it. Okay. It click on generate. And similarly, we can also do a click on it. What Sailpoint will do automatically in backend based on the password policy, it will go and it will create a new password. Okay, that password will be sent in email to the requester or requestee. Okay, and they can go and they can change password. So this is a new password. Ideally, it won't change in backend. Okay, to just show you, I just did this. Okay, but so this password will go to the target application. Ideally it will go and reset the password with this new password, and when user logins inside the again in MySQL or Oracle DB, they can use the account ID this and new password is this, and then they can log in it. Okay, so this is the feasibility we have, and we can reset the password also here. Okay,
So
so that is the thing. So this is
this
about the
fun.
password. Yeah.
So the passwords is like you have a 8.0 patch 2 where I could not
Mm-hmm.
see it. In I don't see it in 8.0 patch 1. Probably it's a patch 2 changes.
No, it's not two changes. You
Manage.
can
Oh,
go to
it's
the manage access and you
manage.
will manage.
I only have a manage. Oh, it is under manage access.
Correct.
Okay, okay,
Or
manage
even you can
passwords.
go it here. Okay,
Okay, yeah,
in the
I saw
edit
it.
also you can go this edit.
Mm,
You can add the card. So I added the manage password here.
yeah,
Okay, so
I
let me
see
just show
now.
you if I want to add a manage account, right? So I can manage account and then I save it. And then so the now manage account is visible. So similar to the manage password, if let's say we want to disable or delete the account, okay, then we can also click on this manage account. Let me just go to the join debut. So this is a user. So this refresh means this cannot be refreshed because we have selected this authoritative system. So we need to do a full refresh. So if you want to Navision account refresh, we can go and we can refresh it. So what happened ideally? If let's say in target application this is disabled and currently it's active in Sailpoint, then if we refresh, then it will change it to the disabled. So all the identity attributes for this particular application will be refreshed by clicking on this. Okay. Now let's say we have another option called disable. So disable will go and disable this account. So the status will be disabled and it will automatically delete. So tap the delete. Okay. Let me just click confirm. Okay, so whatever the access this user has on this account will automatically removed as the account is itself going to remove. Okay, so you can write a comment here if you want, delete it or something. Even comment is not mandatory. Okay, so add the comment and then click on submit. So once we submit, it will go and it will go delete the click on submit. So you can go and manage account accordingly. Okay, so this is about the manage accounts. Okay. So pending deletion because it will go for the approval. Okay. So let me just go and show you. If you see it in track my request, this is pending at Navision owner. So once the Navision owner approves, it will go and it will provision the access or remove the access from the target application. Okay. So let me open Navision owner. Let me add myself as admin as a approver. I'm just adding it and I'm saving again. So this deletion is pending. Okay, I'm just approving it and I'm completing it. So this will show a end-to-end life cycle. So how user can raise a request, how approval can approve it, before approval, which workflow it calls. Based on the workflow configuration, it will go for the approval. Once it is approved, after approval, it will go to the provisioning and it will directly hit to the target system and it will go and it will delete it. Okay, so currently it's awaiting because we don't have a mechanism or something. Okay, delete and it is pending status. So we don't have any mechanism to delete it. Okay, so that is one thing. Now, so this is a one by one configuration that we need to do to ensure that everything works fine. And whatever the configuration or customization we do, we need to configure in Sailpoint accordingly. You know now means workflow. If you have customized, you need to go to the lifecycle manager, and then you need to select it here in business process. Okay, so what exactly the things are available. So yeah, that's it. Any question or anything? So this is all about the identity IQ engineering training. Okay,
Okay,
and there are
thank you.
few more topics left. We have a professional training also. Okay, so in that we are going much more in a detail than this engineering. So yeah, this is a
Uh,
engineering. So
what is
now
the
someone has asked, please go ahead.
go ahead.
No, no, someone has asked previously, can we go opt for the certification? So for engineering, yes, now you can go and you can implement it. Once
Uh,
you implement the thing, at least for a 1 year, okay, properly, then only
mm,
you can go and you can give the engineering certification. But overall aspect, I have covered everything, okay. But the main
so
thing, whenever you
uh,
are going to implement, you will get to learn some extra thing, right? And that would be really helpful in certification also, creating a Sailpoint certification also.
okay. Can you give us some details about professional training if you want, if we want to continue?
Mhm.
Um, uh, do you have more details about the professional training?
Yeah, just give me a minute. So in the professional, so
Okay.
mostly what we are going to do is, so Sailpoint identity IQ object. Okay. So currently what I did is I just shown you the details how exactly we can do and so and so forth, right? Now
Mm,
we are going inside much more detail. Okay. So these are the some things. So Java doc and all, I will go into detail, define the identity IQ, differentiate the identity IQ objects, how we can pull the data, how we can save the objects and everything. Okay. What is
mm,
the difference between searchable and non-searchable attribute? When we can use a attribute as a searchable, when we cannot use a attribute as an searchable, so that we need to understand.
mm.
Then workflow engine and development, so how we can means understand the different workflow component. Okay, I just give you a brief overview, but
Yeah,
much more
more
detail is there.
details.
Okay,
Mm,
yeah,
yes,
so
I got that.
how transition are evaluated
Mm,
and so forth, right? So these are regarding the workflow. Then we have a workflow case also in backend. So when we trigger something, okay,
mm,
so it will trigger a workflow, but in backend it will create a workflow case, okay, and that workflow case, how we can handle and how we can use that workflow case if we want to retrieve our data during the approval or during the provisioning, how we can retrieve it using that workflow case. So the
mm.
then provisioning engine, so provisioning project, provisioning plan, previously you asked me, right?
Correct.
So what is the provisioning project? How exactly it looks like in backend? How it
Mm,
will be created? What are the different steps involved to create it? Okay, and
mm,
so forth about the provisioning plan, result, policies, and then steps, compilation step. How exactly the one by one step will be executed to create
mm,
one by one item. Okay, out of this. Then we have a troubleshooting. So mostly I have covered in this troubleshooting, but I have given a
okay.
limited IIQ console commands. I will show you how we can run if we don't have a system, right? Let's assume that our system is completely down,
Mm,
okay, and server is not starting up. Then how we can debug the issue through the IIQ console if we want to run something in IIQ database directly so that it will be up and running. So that
mm,
those commands or how we can do it, those I can
okay.
show you in this particular professional training. Okay. And debug page, definitely debug page I already shown you, but again it will go in much more detail. What is UI configuration, what is system configuration, what is a link configuration, and what is a some other extra configuration is available. So
Mm,
those I will go. Okay. Then end-to-end workflow tracing, how we can do it
mm.
with when exactly we